What's up, everybody? Welcome back to News Toast, and if you like Xbox, and if you like handhelds, well, you're in the right place today because an Xbox handheld just leaked out online. Now, this will really be our first introduction into their next generation plans, so do make sure to stay tuned for all of that, and we'll get into that as well as a new PlayStation studio that just seemingly came out of nowhere, but I am skeptical based on their introduction. First, though, I do want to thank my supporters on Patreon and on YouTube memberships. Thank you just so much for what you do. I truly do appreciate each and every one of you. Let's just go and get right into things, though, and for old time's sake, we might as well just go and start with the FTC versus the Microsoft Activision Blizzard acquisition. I kid you not. This case, for as much of a clown show as it's been, is still ongoing, which looks more and more ridiculous by the day. I mean, not only did Microsoft not lie about Activision Blizzard remaining multi-platform post-buyout, but they even topped that because now Xbox is porting over other franchises within their house to PlayStation and Nintendo. So I don't really see what the FTC is trying to argue by this point. And apparently, the United States Courts of Appeal for the Ninth Circuit also thinks the FTC is about as ridiculous as I do. Today, they ruled against the FTC in sweeping fashion and basically told them that Microsoft has in no way broken any kind of antitrust law after all. Now, technically, the FTC could still try other avenues to proceed with this entire charade because that's basically what this is by this point. It's a waste of money and it's a waste of time for them to go any further. And hopefully they realize that, because ultimately this will not be unraveled, especially now that Microsoft is opening up their first-party catalog to devices outside of just Xbox consoles. Now, we also got a hint about when the next Battlefield game will release. It's been in closed beta since March, where some of its footage has leaked out online. So, I mean, we already had a pretty good idea that, they've been making deep progress. But as a part of EA's latest financial results, they confirmed that Battlefield will release before March 2026, which of course is the mark of their next fiscal year. So my guess is that they'll release it as their big holiday game. Historically, EA really likes October and November for Battlefield, and now that GTA 6 has been delayed to 2026, some of these other AAA games can kind of reclaim their holiday spots without that concern that GTA 6 will overshadow them. Reportedly, there were publishers that were kind of scared of that game. If you're craving a better look at the next Battlefield, though, EA also confirmed that it will get its official reveal this summer. So possibly at the Summer Game Fest or maybe even the Xbox Summer Showcase next month in June. But I really just hope that this new entry is kind of a return to form. 2042 didn't exactly meet fan expectations, but EA seems to have taken that to heart, and they are saying the right things this time around. They at the very least claim that they want to take Battlefield back to its roots, and hopefully that isn't just empty words. Hopefully they can actually pull it off. Now, I'll tell you one game that I was never for one moment concerned about, even in the slightest, though, and that's Split Fiction. I mean, Hazelight truly is just an extraordinary studio. Really, I'd consider them a top 5 studio in the industry right now. That's how good I think that they are. And with that growing reputation, they are being handsomely rewarded yet again. Split Fiction just surpassed 4 million units sold. And I mean, you have to keep in mind here that this is a cooperative game that allows you to invite anybody online to play with you at no extra cost to them. So, bare minimum here, we're talking about 8 million players. And I think that just kind of goes to show publishers that you can, yes, make a game that doesn't take advantage of its player base at every single opportunity, and, well, it can actually still make a lot of money. Their previous game, It Takes Two, ended up selling 20+ million units, and it's still selling. And I think that's one of the reasons that Split Fiction has had this amount of success. It's Hazelight's reputation. They make insanely fun, creative games that are also very consumer-friendly. And that good word of mouth has spread like wildfire from game to game. It's kind of that From Software Elden Ring impact, if you think about it. A good reputation does matter, and that will build game to game as long as there's that consistent high quality that puts the players first. Okay, so let's go and get to the Xbox news, and we really have two different things to cover here. First, we'll talk about Xbox Game Pass, because they just revealed the next wave of games, which you can see here. It includes Doom: The Dark Ages, Revenge of the Savage Planet, Calibra: Souls Limbo, Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Mutants Unleashed, Firefighting Simulator: The Squad, Police Simulator, Warhammer Vermintide, Dungeons of Hinterberg, Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn, and Metal Slug Tactics. Now, do keep in mind that there are various tiers between Ultimate, you have PC, and there's also Standard. So do make sure the game that you're interested in is included in the tier that you're subscribed to. But the major inclusion here, obviously, is Doom: The Dark Ages. It's actually almost unbelievable to think that Game Pass can include games like Doom, Day One. I mean, we are talking about one of the most decorated franchises of all time. And really for a very good reason. It's a series that helped define the first-person shooter genre. And even its newest trilogy still holds that same high bar. Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal are legitimately some of the best possible shooters that you can play. And I 100% expect that the Dark Ages will continue to carry that mantle onward. I mean, the Dark Ages is a little bit different in how it plays because, first off, it's an origin story. And then you also have this new shield now. I've heard that it does make it a little bit tankier than the previous two games. But I like its idea. I like that they're thinking outside of the box. And I think that it could add a whole new fun layer to its gameplay. And yeah, I mean, I'm super excited to try this game out when it releases on May 15th. In the meantime, though, another Day One release that you might want to go ahead and try is Revenge of the Savage Planet. We talked about this game a few days back, and its reviews has been rather solid. It currently has a 77 on Metacritic, so, I mean, we're probably not exactly talking about a masterpiece, per se, but I actually played the first game, and what I'll kind of say about it is that it was a solid Metroidvania with a fun cooperative component to it. And if anything else, I'm hearing that the sequel is even better. So with that in mind, I think that it'll be another good time, especially if you're looking for a fun cooperative game. If you want to try it, though, it will be available tomorrow on May 8th. Either which way, though, Game Pass is just absolutely killing it right now with games like Oblivion Remastered, Expedition 33, which very well might be the game of the year, and soon, Doom: The Dark Ages. Just from those three games alone, that's $170 combined, which is just crazy to think about. Now, as for these new handhelds, this is the new Asus ROG Ally 2 and its counterpart, the ROG Ally 2 Xbox Edition. Apparently, the United States FCC accidentally leaked images of them ahead of their official reveal. There's a white model, which is more than likely the ROG Ally 2, and then the black version is the new Xbox Edition, which is actually very interesting because this will be our first glimpse into Xbox's strategy for their next generation consoles. Now, the reason that we know that the Black Edition is the Xbox Edition is because it has an Xbox button in the top left-hand corner, which more than likely will take you directly to the Xbox PC app. As we talked about in a video earlier this week, the Xbox PC app is a big part of their future. Reportedly, they've been working hard on it behind the scenes, and I believe that's because this will be the quote-unquote Xbox OS that the next Xbox consoles will boot into. In other words, their next consoles, which includes a home console and a handheld console option, will be a Windows PC. But with the twist that they will boot directly into the Xbox PC app, which will more or less make them feel like a console experience. So that's why this collaboration between Microsoft and Asus is actually very important. It not only will be our first glimpse at a legitimate Xbox handheld, but on top of that, it'll also help Microsoft iron out this app to make it even better for their future consoles. And I think this new button kind of leans into that idea. It's going to be a centerpiece that transforms these Windows devices into an authentic Xbox console experience. Now, with that in mind, though, you do need to kind of understand that this is not their finalized next generation experience. I'd view this more as an open beta, if you will, but what I can say here is that the ROG Ally is actually a really good PC handheld, and if that's anything to go by, then this will be another top-tier PC handheld experience when it eventually releases. I also like the new grips that they're adding to it. It might look a little strange at first, but it actually reminds me a lot of the PlayStation Portal, which, for as bizarre as that device looks, it actually is one of the most comfortable handhelds that I've ever personally used. Either which way, though, it looks like this reveal will be imminent, and who knows? Maybe we'll see it next month at the Xbox Summer Showcase. Now, one last thing before we go. PlayStation just revealed a new first-party studio that diverged from Bungie. Yeah, this is from their official announcement. It reads, "Today, I am thrilled to officially unveil a new studio in the PlayStation Studios family. Team LFG originated at Bungie, but has also rallied developers from across the industry to bring to life an ambitious incubation project that I'm very excited about. The studio is now fully formed and ready to be introduced to the world." So, yeah, this is actually a spin-off Bungie studio, which technically means that they could make this game possibly a PlayStation exclusive. I assume they don't have to follow the same rules that Bungie does, which, they wanted to remain multi-platform as a part of their buyout. But yeah, this is a Bungie-esque game, which means that it's another multiplayer live service title. And that's where I become a little bit more skeptical. For one, Bungie hasn't exactly lived up to their reputation these past few years. And then when you look at Sony, they legitimately have one of the worst reputations when it comes to live service games. Outside of Helldivers 2, they just seem to have a really bad eye for these type of games. They've canceled around 10 live service projects these past few years, which includes games like Concord. There was that weird God of War game from Bluepoint. That game didn't even make sense. There was Twisted Metal, which, okay, I would have actually been interested in that one, but, okay, whatever. There was also Factions 2, and they even signed that weird Splatoon knockoff from Square Enix, and then there was also Destruction All-Stars. So I just don't have a lot of confidence in Sony when it comes to their live service vision. So that's why I'm going to temper my expectations. But if anything else, I do like the idea that Sony is trying to create new studios. And, Bungie has made some really good games in the past. So who knows? This new team might be worth keeping an eye on at the very least. Anyways, though, that's going to be it for this episode. But until next time, make sure to subscribe, ring that bell, and peace out.